the sound guys from Houston to be sure that we don't miss the call.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
So this is just Houston call station. We'll see.
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
And we still don't know if you can hear us.
ESA, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Jules at EAC. How can you hear me?
Hello, EAC. I can hear you loud and clear.
Good day, Alex. Good day. We are here at EAC with loads of space enthusiasts, and here comes the first question from Susanne.
Hi Alex, I'm Susanne, and I'd like to
I
ask
can
you,
hear you.
what does a volcanologist do in space? Or are you a perfect example of a successful change of careers, and how did you do that?
Well, I guess I did successfully change my career. As my colleague Samantha always said it, she changed from the second best job in the world to the best job in the world. That's how I see it as well. But actually, I do still work a little bit as a volcanologist, because up here I can see volcanoes in a completely different way than I could see them back on Earth. And now I actually see them glow at night. Etna in Italy and Stromboli, I can see them glow at night with the naked eye and take pictures. And that's actually, to me, a pretty amazing thing that I can see this from up here. And we do have even a small little science project on that.
Hi Alex, my name is Katri, and my question is, what is the maximum period of stay in the ISS now, and what alterations should be made to either physical or mental well-being in order to extend that period, or even possibly live there permanently?
You know, that's a very good question that we're actually just trying to answer ourselves. Because the maximum time for people that had stayed in space was always around 1 year, and we have made tremendous success in actually keeping our bodies in better shape. Now we have like training devices that keep our muscles. Actually, I just had an experiment today where I measured my muscle circumference to check if those devices are working, and actually we see that we actually build muscle up here. So that was one of the big problems in the early times of spaceflight. Now it shifts more towards how long can we stay, not get sick, like in terms of nutrients, how do our eyes maybe change how they work in space. And the more we look at it, the more we see it is amazing that our body was actually made for a 1G gravity environment, but we can live up here. Well, I don't see a theoretical limit. And we also developed the technologies, like we made sure that we have life support systems that can support a longer stage in space, several years when we fly to Mars. And I do not see any real problem in the way there. It's still research to be done, but I think we humans are built to live in space even for longer amounts of times. And you also maybe heard that we have more missions coming up in the future that look at long time stays of around 1 year. And I'm sure there will be, not soon after, not long after that, there will be even longer missions.
Hi Alex, I'm Chiara, and my question is, did you ever notice any difference between your training on Earth and the real procedures on the real ISS?
Yes, I did. Actually, I mean, it's funny that you asked that, because I talked about this with my crewmates just yesterday. And it's funny that if you start training on Earth, like for a procedure like a change out of a science rack that I have here, or anything, you start getting your tools out, you start getting all your equipment out, and then you start working. Well, if you do that up here, you have to have a way of putting things. Like if you get tools out, they're going to float everywhere. I mean, I just leave things and they disperse in different directions. So you cannot work like that. So you have to have a very strict way of keeping track of all the equipment, all the devices that you use, get them out of the bags just in time, keep really meticulous track of where you put your screwdriver or any pencil, anything. It has to be Velcroed or put in the bag. And that's something that training did not prepare me for. So at the beginning, there were quite some funny scenes where I opened up a bag and there's like 20 things floating out in different directions, and some of them I haven't found until today. So that's definitely an adaptation from training on Earth.
Hello Alex, my name is Alex, and my question is, how did being suspended in zero gravity change your perception of the human body?
Well, like you said, I mean, in zero G you can turn any way you want, and it always feels the same. Quite amazingly, my body itself feels the same. I still have the same kind of feeling. My arms, my legs, everything works. I mean, it's amazing how our body can do that. At night it's a little bit different because you tend to float in your sleeping bag, and after a while you just don't have the perception of touching anything, and that can be once in a while can lead to the feeling that you would like to kind of turn over and roll on the other side, but it doesn't work in space, of course. So that's a little bit of a perception that changes. And what's funny is that for every module, we have still the up and down perception that we keep on Earth. I think our brains are trained like that because we lived so much time of our lives on Earth that we always define it up and down. So if I turn around and talk to you like this, Columbus module looks different to me. I would not find things like if I had to think of where I put my water bottle before, I would have to look around. But if I turn back the normal way, I know exactly where it is now, where I put it before. So our bodies still work in a 1G way, in a way. And that's especially funny when we go into modules like our training module, the Note 3, where we have our strength and exercise devices, a treadmill. They're all upside down or on the wall, and that leads to a funny flip over from one perspective to the other. And when it flips over, you suddenly are in a different world. It's like being in a different module, and you don't know where you've just put your water bottle before you turn around. So it's really funny what happens to your brain. It's interesting to see.
Hi Alex, my name is Julian, and my question is the following. How do you handle moments in which you feel desperate? Is there a special team at ESA or DLR that supports you in these situations, or do you have a special method how you handle it?
It's also very, my approach, and I think it's the general approach of spaceflight training for this, is to stay on top of things so you don't have the feeling of fear, you don't even develop it. We train a lot for situations. I mean, maybe 70% of our training is for situations that are off-nominal, emergency situations. So in such situations, to avoid fear, you have to have the feeling that you're in control of things, even though things go wrong. That you're always a step ahead in training. You know, if there's a fire here, I do this. If there's a depressurization because of a micrometeorite strike, we do this. So in that situation, then you can fall back to what you've trained, and therefore, well, avoid fear. I can't really speak for that completely out of experience, because we did not have a big emergency up here. So I have never even come close to feeling fear. Desperation is also not something that would come to my mind being up here, because it's really beautiful. I'm here with like 3 really good friends. We drove and we laugh every day. And so I feel well here. I look out and see the earth, and this is an amazing place to be, an amazing place to work in. So I'm far from being desperate, as you might see. So far I did not have to deal with that. But in general, I think preparation for the off-nominal is the key.
Hey Alex, my name is Franz, and I would like to know if you have to undertake some provisions to avoid impact of space debris.
Yeah, well, the whole ISS is kind of shielded. We have a layer of different cloths, Kevlar materials, like a bulletproof vest that completely surrounds the space station. And because we do get impacts all the time, like tiny little ones, like the size of sandcorns, they impact the space station all the time. And if you look at the solar panels, take a close look, there's thousands or even millions of little holes outside, but they don't do anything to our space station. Bigger ones are much more rare, but still happens once in a while that like a centimeter-sized object comes close to the space station. And these are actually tracked from the ground, and we know pretty much exactly where they are, when they would interfere with our orbit, and then we can give ourselves a little reboost and bring the space station basically out of the way of that debris. So we still have the risk of a collision. That's why we're still prepared. Like we can close hatches anytime if we have a module leaking. There's actually a reasonably high likelihood that this might happen in the lifetime of ISS, but we're prepared for this. So all in all, the danger to ourselves is not that high.
Hi Alex, my name is Sylvia, and here's my question. When you look down to Earth, what do you think about us, and do you have any tip for mankind?
Yeah, it's amazing to look down at that Earth. My personal feeling is it's much more small and fragile and tiny than I ever thought. And if you look at like the cloud systems that you see, or if you look at, I mean, you can see the whole continent at once. You can see the whole of Australia at the same time. You can see South America and Africa at the same time when you look out the window. And to me, it looks like everything is connected on this planet. This is really obvious from up here. You cannot do anything on this tiny little sphere on one side that doesn't affect the other side. This is so clear from up here, and the atmosphere is very thin. That's so clear from up here. And even though I knew all this in a way before, it is still amazing to see that and well, to feel this. So that's why I don't think I should give advice to anybody, because well, who would listen to a guy who flew into space just because he flew into space? My approach to this is actually let the people on Earth see the Earth through my eyes, and that's why I tweet so many pictures, give my impressions, what I feel when I see a picture. Try and take a picture from a human point of view and convey that perspective down to you guys, who help tremendously, by the way, by distributing that message, and let people judge themselves what the planet is that they live on, and get that perspective to them. And I think any conclusion that a person makes from their own perspective is much more valuable, much stronger than listening to advice.
Hello Alex, my name is Lucas. Thank you for the photos on Facebook where you also wrote that the work record on the ISS had been broken. My question is, how do you deal with this workload, and is there any work-life balance?
Yeah, we work a lot, of course, up here, just because we want to make most of the time that we have. So we have about a 12-hour working day, and then you have to add like several hours of doing like administrative work, email, getting organized for the next day. So there's, in the week, there's about 1 hour that we have per day that we can do our own thing. Like we could float to the cupola, have a look outside, we can call our families or write emails to our friends. That works, so that's already a balance. And I feel like that's enough during the week, because we don't have too many things to do up here anyways, apart from working or looking out the window, which is a good thing. And I do have one thing a week, like this is my Sunday afternoon, that I keep completely free of everything. Like I don't do any exercise, I don't plan any work there, and I just do things that I do for myself, like well, writing a letter to somebody, or just giving a friend a call. And that's my own reserved time. I don't work out there. I don't even do like running on the treadmill. And that's my way that I found for myself to balance my work life. And that works pretty well. And I think everybody up here has their own little thing that they do.
Hi Alex, I'm Eduardo, and my question is, what did you bring with you on board the International Space Station so as not to miss the Earth?
You know, I've been asked that question a lot, and I did bring things up here, like little things that reminded me of my friends and photos. But you know, all that, I realized while it is nice to have and good to see, it is not a substitute. It doesn't help me to not miss Earth anymore. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it as difficult being up here for 3 months now. In 6 months, I know that time will pass in no time. And even a year up here, I think we humans can deal with that. We can go to extreme places knowing that our home is down there. And I do see Earth every time I look out the window. I see a beautiful Earth. It doesn't feel like we're far away. But I realize that I miss things like running in the forest or standing in the rain in the summer. That will never be replaced by something that I bring up here, and that will be also the future of space exploration. I don't think we humans, if we grew up on Earth, we will ever be able to replace that by something else. This little planet down there, that's our home, and we cannot replace it by anything else. So we always want to go back, I guess. Well, some of us might not, but we always have this strong connection to that planet, whatever we find out there in the universe, and I think we need to have a look out there for many, many different reasons. And we might find many new, exciting worlds, but us humans, we like our Earth, and it's the only place we know, the only place in the universe that we can live on, and yeah, we should probably take care of that. That's my understanding from learning from my own feelings.
Hello Alex, my name is Hans Josef, and my question is, you got so much impressions of our place of refuge in space. What do you think, in which kind your life on Earth will change when you are back on Earth?
Yeah, I think many things will change for me, of course, because I'm not in training anymore, so I'm kind of getting back a little bit more control over my own life. The last 3 years I traveled around a lot, of course, but in a more general thing on how I see Earth, maybe, I mean, I have not come back yet, so I don't quite know what the difference will be, but if I look back on, like, I started flying or parachuting, suddenly my view on my surroundings went from a 2D view to a 3D view. Suddenly, when I started flying in airplanes, I realized, oh, weather is not a local, it's not a general thing. Today is a rainy day, but no, it's actually just a local thing, right? It only rains at that place, and if you fly or travel somewhere else, it might be fine weather there. So you get a broader perspective on things. And I think the same will happen with me now, having circled the Earth in 90 minutes and knowing every corner of it from a distance now. I mean, I can I feel like I can already tell which continent, which country we fly over just by looking out the window, because I did that so much. I think what might change is my perception of this planet. I think it got smaller in a way, and I suddenly see that many things are more connected than I thought when I grew up. Like, if you grow up in a small town, your world around you has a diameter of maybe 20 kilometers, and then you start studying and go to a different town, and it grows to, you travel, and suddenly your radius is a country or a continent. But now I see that Earth is really just a small little rock in the universe, and that's all we have. And I think that changes the view of what we have out there and what we do with it.
Alex, the last question.
Hi Alex, this is Constanze from Dresden. Well, my question refers to the time when we were back on Earth. What will you miss most when you're back? Are there any advantages in space you will miss?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what I will miss is, of course, the view out the window on this Earth that is so amazing, so beautiful. It is different every single time I look out. I've never managed to repeat a photo twice. It's different every single time. Those clouds, the lighting, it's so beautiful, and it's like seeing an orbital sunrise or a sunset. I get tears in my eyes every single time I see it, even though I've seen it so many times. And that I will miss, definitely. Then floating, just like being able to hang out, just park things in the middle of the air. That's actually a really neat thing to do. Like when I'm busy doing something, I got really used to just putting something here, and then you still have to keep track, of course, about it. But it's nice. You can even park like fridge-sized items, like a science rack that you take out of a box or something. You can park them right there. That is actually a really cool thing to do. I will miss that. So I hope I won't drop too many things by just trying to park them in the air. But I think living in space is a fantastic thing. I think everybody should have the chance of doing that once. I'm sure I will miss it.
Thank you, Station. That concludes the event in Cologne. Goodbye.
Station, this is Houston.
Thank you, Cologne. All the best.
Ooh, that was close. We almost did not get to ask our 11 questions, so I'm really happy that we managed. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for submitting the questions. I'd like, before we go on with the program, to really say a big thank you to our colleague Frank up there. Did that for the first time. Thank you very much, Frank.